The organic food business is driven by a desire for healthier meals, anxieties over the environment, and nostalgia for a time before chemical pesticides and fertilizers. But does organic food actually address any of those concerns? Or are we all just a bunch of suckers? Well, today we're going to find out if organic foods are a scam. But before we get started, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel. After that, please leave a comment and let us know what other health food-related topics you would like to hear about. Okay, time for a 100% organic Weird History Food. The term organic as it relates to food first appeared in the 1940 book Look to the Land by British agriculturalist, author, and surprisingly enough, rower, Walter Ernest Christopher James. In that tome, this man, with 4 first names, took a natural approach to farming, which focused on the farm as an organism, making the food grown there organic. But while James may have coined the term, it would take others to push the nascent movement forward. Early contributors include J.I. Rodale, who developed methods of farming that didn't use chemicals, Sir Albert Howard, who was big on using animal waste as fertilizer, and who knows what else, and Rachel Carson, whose 1962 book Silent Spring highlighted the harmful effects of DDT, the pesticide, not the wrestling move. Today, organic is a legally defined and regulated term that implies adherence to strict farming and processing standards. Now, at some point, you may have been told that organic is interchangeable with natural or free range. But whoever told you that was wrong all day long. In the U.S., natural is an unregulated term that can mean pretty much anything, and free range just refers to animals that have access to the outdoors, which is nice if you're a chicken who likes to go for walks, but is in no way the same thing as organic. Nations such as the US, Canada, Mexico, and Japan all require special certification to market food as organic, but there is no global standard. In the US, organic production is regulated by the Organic Foods Production Act of 1990. It provides for 4 levels of labeling: 100% organic, made with organic ingredients, and specific organic ingredients, which is like the swag of organic foods. Only the first 2 of these categories can use the USDA organic seal, and the regulations are, to be sure, fairly demanding. For example, for meat to be certified organic, the animals need to be fed organic food that contains no animal byproducts, such as slaughterhouse waste, skin and bones, or even wool and feather. These animals also have to be naturally fit and healthy, since they can't use steroids or antibiotics. So if you drive by a farm and see cows doing cardio, now you know why. Anyway, since the government is, the government, it took over a decade to finalize the details of the OFPA. But in that time, things continued to progress. Organic farmland increased from 11 million hectares in 1999 to 43.7 million hectares in 2014. And in the same time span, the overall global market of organic products increased from $15.2 billion to $80 billion. In other words, there was a ton of organic money to organically be made by selling organic food. There's a widespread public belief that organic food is safer, more nutritious, and tastier than food grown with chemical fertilizers and pesticides. People also think organic farming is better for the environment and animal welfare, since farms aren't allowed to use synthetic pesticides or steroids. Of course, people also believe in the chupacabra, so public belief isn't necessarily the best measure. We'll get to the truth about those claims in a moment, but whatever it may be, the hype certainly is real. The Organic Trade Association conducted a survey of 2,500 consumers, asking them about their familiarity with food label claims, food choice priorities, how often they buy organic, and willingness to pay more for an organic label. The results showed that organic foods resonate heavily with millennials and Gen Z, among whom the personal health benefits outrank environmental health benefits when it comes to purchase decisions. The survey also showed that older demographics worry more about the affordability of organic food, while younger consumers at every income level are more willing to pay for the organic stuff. And who can blame them? Gotta eat good to look good, right? Adding to the hype is the fact that quite a few celebrities have adopted the organic lifestyle. One of the biggest proponents is Gwyneth Paltrow. Through her wellness brand, Goop, she brought clean eating and organic food into the mainstream, along with a host of interestingly scented candles. NFL GOAT Tom Brady's diet went viral in 2017 after the publication of his book, The TB12 Method. His personal chef revealed that 80% of what Tommy Boy eats is organic foods and whole foods, which help to fuel his high-level performances and his creepy habit of kissing his son on the lips. Jessica Alba prefers to eat organic in order to reduce chemical exposure and promote clean living. She prefers it so much, in fact, she founded The Honest Company, which sounds exactly like what a con artist names their company when they plan to lie about everything. That's probably not the case with Jessica, though, whose organization promotes transparency and organic ingredients in both food and household products. Meanwhile, in his Netflix series, Down to Earth, Zac Efron explores sustainable practices and the benefits of local and organic foods. This led him to a more mindful diet, as well as a bank account full of sweet, sweet Netflix money. So, this is where we start to answer the million-dollar question, is organic a scam? Well, based on what the Mayo Clinic has to say, things don't look so hot for organic. The clinic, which is widely regarded as one of the world's best hospitals and has absolutely nothing to do with mayonnaise, has diplomatically stated that getting your recommended amount of fruits and vegetables every day is more important than whether those foods are organic or conventionally farmed. They also offer several tips for food safety, which include things like buying fresh, undamaged produce and keeping it at the right temperature, but nothing about eating organic. Okay, but what about the evidence, you say? Well, there's little to no scientific evidence that a diet of organic foods offer any benefit with regards to human health. In fact, a landmark 2012 analysis noted that there have been no long-term studies of health outcomes among populations consuming predominantly organic versus conventionally produced food, controlling for socioeconomic factors. As far as we can tell, that's still true today, which raises the question of why so many organic food businesses stand by their health-related claims if there's no study validating them. Well, unfortunately, it's simply a lot cheaper to just say they work than test to see if they actually work. So if the bottom line is that while customers may choose organic foods because they think they're more nutritious, the scientific evidence doesn't back them up. Now, in all fairness, it is hard to quantify whether an organic diet is better than a conventional diet because of other lifestyle choices, which are difficult to control for. People who normally buy organic foods tend to be more active, smoke less, and make overall healthier lifestyle choices. These combine to create lower risks of disease, which makes it hard to tell what role, if any, is played by the consumption of organic food. But at least organic food tastes better, right? Well, not to be a buzzkill, but no, there's no compelling evidence organic food tastes better than non-organic food. The closest we could find were some studies that show some organic fruit is drier than conventionally grown fruit. And drier fruit may have a more intense flavor due to a higher concentration of flavoring substances. But that's really a function of the dryness level, not the organic farming process. Besides, who wants dry fruit? More damning, however, is research from 2013, which shows that people who say ethical farming practices are important to them tend to think food labeled as organic tastes better, even when that label is fake. In other words, the difference is all in their heads. Okay, but what about the environmental claims? Well, from an environmental perspective, conventional farming is definitely problematic. The use of chemical fertilizers, overproduction, and synthetic pesticides have caused widespread damage to ecosystems, groundwater, and the fertility of farmers. And that last one's a big problem, because those farmers need kids to make working the farm easier. Anyway, organic farming does reduce some of the environmental impact of conventional farming. A 2020 study at the Technical University of Munich did find that greenhouse emissions from organic farms are lower than conventional farms. It also noted that organic practices would likely be beneficial for long-term efficiency and probably improve soil over time. That being said, it's difficult to tell exactly how much organic farming actually helps. As for chemical pesticides, a 2012 report determined that detectable pesticide residues were found in 7% of organic produce samples versus 38% of conventionally grown samples. 2 years later, a different report found that conventionally grown produce was 4 times more likely to have pesticide residue than organically grown crops. That sounds impressive, but according to the American Cancer Society, there's no evidence that the small amount of pesticide residue on conventional foods will increase the risk of cancer. So while they still think fruits and vegetables should be washed, they're fairly indifferent as to whether you eat organic or not. And let's not forget the 2012 analysis that showed that E. coli contamination was actually higher on organic food. Yes, it was 7% versus the 6% found in conventional produce. But like it or not, higher is higher. Science is ever-changing, and we never know what the future might bring. So there's a chance some new study will drop at any moment, and it will reverse everything we've said here. But for now, the TLDR is that there's no real scientific or medical reason to eat organic. Of course, just because there's no compelling science behind it doesn't mean the organic industry is going to slow down anytime soon. In fact, it's bigger than ever. Yes, organic food isn't just for dirty hippies anymore. It's graduated from farmer market stalls to every major grocery store chain's produce sections. And there's a monster-sized industry that has a lot invested in getting people to stay with the organic program. If you're one of those people, the website Organic Authority, a name you could assume they gave themselves, ran a list of their top 20 most credible natural food brands. For the record, their top 5 includes Eden Foods, Bragg's, Food for Life, Nature's Path, and Traditional Medicine. But keep in mind, it'll cost you, because organic food does tend to be more expensive. Only time will tell if people are down to keep paying more money for less food. The organic foods market, however, is estimated to be worth $222 million in 2025 and is projected to reach as high as $710 million by 2035. So it's pretty clear consumers are still on board to be scammed. So what do you think? Is organic a scam? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other videos from Weird History.